music.
Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for being here. I am AP. I'm your host. This is Timeouts and Tangents, and I cannot thank you enough for all of you being here with me tonight. We are live. My guy, Chef, in the chat on it again. Thank you for hitting that notification bell and making sure you staying tapped in. Unc is in the building. Thank you for being here tonight, Unc. Sorry for running a little bit late tonight. Had some technical difficulties, but we're still in the building. Rainy day outside, Louisiana, right? Rainy, ugly, just nasty day. And then I'm not gonna lie, I was planning on talking. My whole show setup was completely different from what we're gonna talk about tonight. But I'm gonna tap into some of those things. I definitely want to talk about Eastern Royal and the opportunity I think that is presenting itself. And I definitely want to talk about the recruiting for the 2027 class that's shaping up. But Lane Kiffin came through and definitely blew up the state of Mississippi. He went Hiroshima. What's up, Babin? Thank you for being here. Carla Cat, thank you for being here, man. Definitely appreciate it. Like he says, we are live. Hit the like button. Hit the button. We are in the building. We are live everywhere. Everywhere you can think of, we are live. So thank y'all so much for supporting where we are. Yeah, Lane Kiffin came through and he just dropped an entire bomb on Mississippi and blew up their spot. Like, Ole Miss fans are all worked up, and we're going to talk about it because I have a intriguing perspective as to the comments that Lane shared. What's up, Alex? Thank you for being here. Thank you for tapping in. For the comments that Lane shared, and also not just the comments, but as a black man growing up in the South, who went to LSU, who has a black son and a black daughter, who my daughter is in college in Mississippi. So these comments that Lane shared hit home legitimately. These are and the people who are up in arms about this are the ones who don't have to have these types of conversations. And you're right, Carl. Kiffin threw a big bomb. The Grove is in shambles. Yes. Like, this isn't something that is taken lightly. It's not something that's approached from a half-stepped precaution. When we as young adults are choosing our colleges that we're going to, our parents legitimately take into consideration the area that the colleges are in, not necessarily the city per se, but really the area. And when you're saying as a young black man or woman that you want to go to a college in Mississippi and you're not from there, that's a heavy conversation to have. I pulled up, let me pull it up real quick. Pulled up some stats earlier. Dealing around this that I want to share with y'all. Because what we have to take into consideration is the basis for the comments. What's up, Joker? Thank you for being here. The basis for the comments that Lane made, right? So if you don't know, let me. I did us all a favor, so y'all don't have to. I joined Vanity Fair, subscribed for a month because they had a free trial. Pulled up the Lane Kiffin article and then immediately canceled because it was a free trial. You're not about to get no money out of me. I'm not even gonna log back in after today. Sorry, I'm not sorry. I'd be lying by saying I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. So let's take a look real quick at these some of these comments. Chris Smith is the guy who did the article, and what Lane says is that ultimately he says Chris writes ultimately Kiffin argues the sideshow shouldn't matter, meaning how he left Ole Miss fans. Ole Miss fans shouldn't be upset because he held up his end of the bargain. So let's start there. Kiffin is quoted by saying, "Did you make the university tons of money? Are out-of-state applications way up? Did the city make tons of money? Businesses, real estate. I mean, this is not a normal big city. This is Oxford, Mississippi." So Lane is fully aware of where he is and the effect that he was able to have on this community in Oxford. As a head coach of what was not a prestigious football program, he turned it into one. And by doing so, he shined a light on an already fantastic community. Oxford, Mississippi is a city of 20,000 people. It's not big. It's a beautiful, affluent area of Mississippi. It is not reflective of the state of Mississippi. It is, by all accounts, an anomaly of the state. It does not represent Mississippi. And people from Mississippi would like to make you think that Oxford is Mississippi. That's not the case. Mississippi state population is roughly 40% black. For the entire state, 40% black. My guy, Pearsley. What's up, my guy? Salute. I know you're on the clock. Appreciate you tapping in. I'm not going to say that too loud. Don't want you to get in trouble or anything. 40% black, but Ole Miss enrolls only around 11% black students. That's not consistent with the demographic of your state. That does not represent 40% of the state of Mississippi is black. And they want you to believe that Oxford, Mississippi is a direct representation of what Mississippi is. It's not. It is not. It's not. So if we're going to sit up here and believe that we should be upset at the comments that Lane made about the current state, not even a current state, because it's not a current issue, but it's a current undertone. It is a foundational issue for that school and for schools in the SEC as a whole. Mississippi is the blackest state in the country. That is not hyperbole. That's a fact. So when you think about Mississippi and Oxford itself being a population of 20,000 people, for all the people who live in Louisiana, I want to see something. The population of Metairie, Louisiana, is small, right? If you're from Louisiana, you recognize Metairie as being the suburb to New Orleans. And if you're from New Orleans, you recognize Metairie as being a very, very small city. Metairie has a population of over 100,000 people. We're talking about Oxford, which doesn't have the population of attendance that LSU has. That's how small this place is. So it better be beautiful. It better be clean. With the amount of money and resources that are in that community, it should be beautiful. The schools are fantastic. It is a great place to raise a family. My dog Chef, I'm in Uptown, not too far from you, bro. Says he's in Metairie right now. So when we think about that, 25,000 people. It's great comparison. Chalmette has a population of 23,000 people. Chalmette and Oxford. About what and what? They're one and the same, not 6'7". They're one and the same. Piercy says, I've been to Oxford once. It's decidedly and intentionally antebellum. I'll just say that. I've driven through Oxford. I've never stopped in it. Just literally on my way to Tennessee or Atlanta, I'll cut through Oxford. I can't remember exactly, but I've been through it several times. I think it was going to Nashville or Memphis. Either way. You notice how gorgeous it is for a small town. It is gorgeous, beautiful, small. But we're talking 20. If you've ever been to Chalmette feels like it has one way in, one way out. Chalmette's clean. It's not as affluent as Oxford is. It's not as modern as Oxford is. But you can feel some tension in Chalmette and St. Bernard if you've been there. And y'all know what kind of tension I'm referring to. You have to understand that the point that Lane Kiffin is making when he makes these comments is based off of conversations he's had with parents. This isn't something that he's just saying just to say. So let's keep going with some of these quotes. He says, Kiffin knows loyalty is rarely a two-way street in his profession. He points to recent examples, including Penn State, where head coach James Franklin was fired less than 1 year after taking the Nittany Lions to the Final Four. Are you letting down the fans? Oxford, that's been so good to you. Like, he wrestled with it. Kiffin asked himself last November as he weighed a decision. The tone of his voice grows more passionate. Then Kiffin says this: no coach I talked to at any point ever said, stay there. You got one life. That's what he says. No coach I ever spoke with said, stay there. He reminds himself, you got one life. People do it all the time. Players and free agency, coaches, magazines, people change. It's your story. That's why I did okay with it. I'm like, man, it's my story. And I choose for this to be the next chapter. I'm fine with it. It's unfortunate the way that it unfolded itself, right? We've been through this several times. I'm sure he would have loved to have stayed throughout the end of the playoff run and been there for all of that. And who knows? Does he recommit himself to Ole Miss? Honestly, I don't think so. Because, like he said, everybody he's ever talked to has told him that this was a better job. Plain and simple. So he knew it. So this was a once in a lifetime opportunity. So he took it. But here's where things get spicy. This is where the seasoning gets added to this article. This is why everybody's so up in arms. And it's not what Kiffin says, it's the way that the article is written to invoke the undertones that Lane is approaching. Chris Smith writes, Kiffin also seems willing to indirectly invoke Ole Miss's struggles to distance itself from symbols like the Confederate flag, the Colonel Rebel, and the nickname Ole Miss itself. Now, he never said that, but he's alluding to the quote that he's about to lay down. Chris Smith says when he was coaching there, Kiffin says top recruits would tell him, hey, coach, we really like you, but my grandparents aren't letting me move to Oxford, Mississippi. That's a fact. That's a fact. A lot of people who I'm very cool with, when I tell them the schools that I went to Brother Martin, that I went to LSU, especially within my black community, I always get a side eye. Oh, you know LSU don't like black people. Why you went there? Why you didn't go to HBCU? Why you didn't go to Southern, Dillard, Xavier? Because that's where I wanted to go. I don't side eye people who choose to go to Ole Miss because I understand that those same conversations take place. It's not to say that the judgments that's being cast upon them are fair, because it's not. But it's also recognizable. Yes, chef. Yes. Yes. For years, we cannot grow past it. LSU is probably the most diverse place in the state of Louisiana outside of New Orleans. Ole Miss is probably the most diverse place in Mississippi outside of Jackson. A lot of black people in BR hates. Yes, that's not a lie. It's because of these old stigmas that's just passed down through. But it's also an inherited level of protection. It's generational trauma that our people have been through and that we haven't dealt with. And that's why you see these fans in Mississippi right now are absolutely riled up because they're the ones who haven't had to deal with this generational trauma. When I saw these quotes, I was not shocked by Lane Kiffin's wording of it because it's a fact. I'll never forget when it came time for me to choose the school that I was going to. And I'm not going to get into the details of my story and my past and everything that I had to go through. But originally, I was going to Clark Atlanta University. My family was absolutely thrilled behind it. My wife right now, who we had just met and started dating a few months prior to me making that decision, was ready to pack up and move with me to Atlanta. But life be lifing. I didn't end up going to Clark, Atlanta. I ended up at UNO for a year and then at LSU. And you know that excitement that my family had about me going to an HBCU? My aunts and cousins hoping that I transferred to Morehouse. That was not happening, partner. I went to Brother Martin for high school. I wasn't about to do 4 years at another all boy institution. I don't care how close Spelman was. Wasn't happening. But that excitement, that buzz that my family had about me going to an HBCU, when I said I'm going to LSU, I got the complete opposite. It wasn't excitement. It was questioning. It was doubt. It was why. It was they don't do anything for black people. And I didn't understand it because my grandmother, who was an educator, Lord rest her soul, taught at Sophie B. Wright, at Green, Andrew J. Bell, all these public schools across the city of New Orleans for almost 40 years of her life, who graduated from a public school in the city of New Orleans, refused to send me to a public school in the city of New Orleans. So I didn't understand why my family, who knew my educational background, was not supportive of my decision to go to a PWI. For those who don't know that, that is a predominantly white institution. When I had just come out of a PWI in high school, I am no stranger to this. I dealt with it from first grade all the way through 12th grade. This is an environment I'm comfortable in. I know the signs. I know what to deal with. I can handle myself accordingly. So when I chose LSU, my mother was definitely concerned. But the one comment that stood with me was, I'm fine with you going there, but I want you to know why I'm uncomfortable. But I'm even better at the fact that you're not trying to go to any school in Mississippi. I have familiar ties to the state of Mississippi. One of my family members was the first black man to own a business in the state of Mississippi. My people never looking to go to Mississippi. My my family doesn't even like to drive through Mississippi. And it's because, and that's a fact. And it's because of things just like this. Fun fact, Pearsley says Mississippi only very recently outlawed lynching. I'm not going to get into politics. I don't care who you vote for, who you support. That's on you. I'm here to talk sports. But this is a sports conversation that's bleeding over into a culture, and I'm pretty sure that most people who are hearing this will never be faced with these types of conversations before. It's why we're seeing the responses and reaction that we're seeing tonight. If you don't have to deal with stereotyping, if you don't have to deal with laws being written to threaten your life and protect those who are willing to take it just because you look different, these types of conversations will never hit home for you. Emmett Till is a name that is still very recent and triggering for a lot of people. We act as if though segregation is this thing that happened many, many, many years ago. That ended in my mom's lifetime. All of the scars that we have are still open wounds. They haven't even fully healed yet. Some of them haven't even been treated. So when you have a child who's talking about going out into the world away from the nest, as a parent, the one thing you always seek to protect, and I'm getting goosebumps talking about this because I'm a father and I take being a father very seriously. It's the first line, it's my second responsibility. My first is being a husband to my wife because I can't be a good father if I don't have my wife on my side. But I have to protect my children. And that means advising them to make the best decisions, not just for their long term future, but for their short term safety. And I can't protect them from everything. In the day and age that we live in now, they're not being properly educated of the things that happened in the past. And those undertones are still hanging around. You're seeing it happen now. Small things within politics are taking place right now that are sending people back around in ways that we never expected it to be. We thought it was all done and over with. Purple Mafia, I see you over there on TikTok, man. Thank you for being here. This is just a completely different environment. It's easier to hide the stereotypes, the hatred. Everything is put off as a joke or I'm just doing it for content. My daughter last year had to make the decision on what college she wanted to go to. And I'm not going to lie, I wanted her to go out to get from underneath the roof so she can experience life. I didn't want her to go to Mississippi. The most uncomfortable conversation we had to have. I love the fact that she's going to Alcorn, predominant HBCU. But I can tell you now, I personally have only been in that campus 2 times since she's been there. Because driving those roads do something to me. It's triggering. It's nerve-wracking. The experience of even driving while black on a Mississippi highway is something that you can never truly explain to someone unless they've been there to live through it themselves. It's hard to relate. And I know a lot of people are going to side eye my comments and be turned off, and it is what it is. It's fine. This is my story. And I'm giving you a perspective that other people probably aren't as willing to share. My son is preparing to go to college next year. This is another conversation that we've had to have with him in the same way. I don't want nothing to happen to my babies. And if protecting them means keeping them from going somewhere where they shouldn't be, then no, you can't go. But the fact that I trust my daughter to make sound decisions and to not put herself in harm's way and to contact us if something is going wrong, and she knows no matter what time of day or night we are on our way, I'm cool with her being where she is. My son, however, he's made the decision that he doesn't want to stray too far away from home. He's not ready. And I respect that. Not saying he's going to stay in New Orleans, but he doesn't want to leave outside Louisiana. My grandmother used to have this saying a long time ago, and I never understood it until I got older. It's better to deal with the devil that you know. We know that Louisiana has its issues, just like Mississippi. At least we know Louisiana. We don't know Mississippi. So I know for a fact, being a dad and now being a coach, talking to players, that there are people who will not go to school in Mississippi because it is Mississippi. And I know that the fans at Ole Miss take it as a level of disrespect, but I can tell you right now, Jacques Doucet shared it again today, but the pregame interactions between Ole Miss fans and LSU players on the field are exactly why we don't want to send our children out there. You've got young teenage white boys drinking in the stands, calling football players boy, and saying it with the tone that they know what they're getting at. Who wants to be willing to subject their child to that? And look, once again, I'm going to say this clearly. You can find this same story applied to almost every single school in the SEC. But the demographics of Mississippi do not reflect a place of diversity, growth, or inclusion. Oxford does not represent the state. 40% of your state is black, but only 11% of your students are. That's not comfortable. And I'm not even talking about the logos yet, the Ole Miss name yet. I haven't talked about any of that yet. It's rooted in Confederacy, which I'll never understand the fact of people being so attached to a group of losers so much. Like I don't get the fascination behind it. Like, oh, it's cool. It's cool to celebrate loot. They lost. Like y'all want to champion losers? That's what y'all want to be? Y'all want to be represented by a bunch of losers? Y'all are proud of losers? They lost. Never seen a group of people be so attached to second place. Like people are attached to the Confederacy. I don't get it. I don't understand. And that's not a black or white thing. Like they just lost. They lost. I don't understand that part. But the Ole Miss nickname, like the Rebels, the mascots, the traditions, it's all rooted in Confederacy. What's up, David? Thank you for being here. Like that's not how that should go. That's not comfortable. And I, as a kid growing up, watching Ole Miss play, I never understood how black kids could run around with that flag on the side of their helmet. Didn't get it. Piercy says sometimes it's not even a past, it's just 50 years ago, 10 years ago, a year ago, just a week ago. Yes. All of it is recent. All of it. All of it. Andre said lynching has always been illegal, but Biden did pass a law in 2022 making it a hate crime. Look at what you just said, though, Andre. In 2022. Alex says, my mom in high school in Baton Rouge in the late 70s. She was transferred to another high school due to desegregation in the 70s. It's not that long ago. In the 70s. The odds of Texas don't bother people enough, in my opinion. Yeah. David says, got Max her ice cream earlier. My guy. Appreciate it. Yes. And she told me she wants to invite you to her birthday. Bet I'll be there. I'll be there. I will be there. She can get whatever she wants for her birthday within my budget because I am broke. But so I want y'all to understand, like, I don't know if y'all know this, but even the name Ole Miss, that's a racial connotation. It's what enslaved people would call the master's wife on the plantation. Ole Miss. That's the Ole Miss. Calling the school is not Ole Miss, it's the University of Mississippi. The Colonel Reb was removed because of slavery in images. That happened in 2003. 2003. The rebel name was adopted in 1936 because they wanted to evoke the Confederacy. And they enjoy playing Dixie on campus. This may be traditions for one group of people, but it's torment and torture for another. And while we may not have, me personally, lived through the day and age of the torture, right? And then have to grow up running through fields, hiding from those chants of Dixie, seeing those hoods, having crosses burned in the front of my yard. I didn't have to deal with that. My grandmother did. My great grandmother did. I was told those stories firsthand. So when recruits are saying that their grandparents aren't letting them come to Oxford, Mississippi, it's not because Oxford, Mississippi isn't gorgeous or isn't the place to raise a family or is lacking in resources or doesn't have support. It's because of what it represents. And it may not be that today, but yesterday wasn't that far away. There's a generation of people that are still alive that had to deal with that. And as a parent, I don't know if I'd be comfortable with my son putting on that helmet. And look, there are a lot of people who, go to Ole Miss and love it and they have a great experience and they should. It's a beautiful place. It's a damn good school. Like I said, I will always hold a special spot in my heart for Ole Miss because of Corey. But it's still Ole Miss. It's still the school in Oxford. It still hits different. And it just feels weird. And that's something a lot of people can't attach itself to because they haven't and will never be able to walk in those shoes. And there are a lot of people right now who are lacking empathy and don't want to see it from the other person's perspective. Imagine you have a dog and your dog is amazing and beautiful to you and only you. But when you're not around, your dog is a killer. It's aggressive, wants to chew off everything. When somebody tells you your dog is crazy, you look at them like they're crazy. Don't you talk about my dog. It's my dog. My dog is beautiful. My dog is the best. My dog is this, that, and the third. Well, it's like when you have a child and your child, nobody can tell you anything wrong about your child. When you're not around, your child is talking back, not listening, not doing their work, being a distraction. That's your child. My child is this, my child is that. My child can't do no wrong because I've never seen my child do wrong. Well, your child doesn't do wrong, or your child listens very well to you. You have a beautiful experience with your child, but the rest of the world doesn't. That's what Ole Miss is like to a community of people who've been tormented by those images. To a generation of people that had to grow up in fear of their life for even crossing the state. Do you realize that there are still towns in Mississippi that when the sun goes down, in Louisiana too, that when the sun goes down, excuse my language, but they better not catch my black ass outside? That's a thing. That's a real thing. And you can find yourself in those towns in Mississippi because there are a lot of small towns, especially going up to Oxford. Imagine being a grandparent driving out to Oxford to go see your child play at Ole Miss. you got to leave that night because it's a small town. You got to drive an hour away to your hotel. That's an uncomfortable ride for some, not for all, for some. But it shouldn't be. And that is the sad part. You would think that we are past this, but no, these wounds have still gone untreated. And Lane Kiffin's comments just showed and reminded everyone as to why they still are untreated. He reminded everybody that we still have a lot of growing to do. Because you know what the response was from fans? The response was, well, they call LSU the Fighting Tigers in response to the Confederate Army or fighting like tigers. Yes, that's true. But they dropped the fighting part. And they're not putting up the Confederate flag. Did y'all know LSU did have a purple and gold Confederate flag at one point? That was a thing around campus. But you don't see mention of that too often now. LSU is one of the most diverse universities in the South. That's just a fact. And I give them credit for striving to be at that point. They made it a priority to get there. And to the other side of this conversation, there are a lot of black people that are saying, well, why do we just keep sending our kids to these organizations? And if we sent them to HBCUs, then we wouldn't have to deal with this. Look, it's a dumb move too. Avoiding does not breed any change. It's a double-edged sword. The more we separate, the more we feed into the narrative that we shouldn't be there to begin with. It justifies the action. It emboldens them to take a stronger stance to feel like we're not welcomed and that we're giving in to the intimidation. Your presence is power. So you do show up. Now, is it a problem that we send our athletes and they don't get paid? Well, now they're getting paid. Can't say that. Can't say that. They're getting paid now. And it's also providing them with the best opportunity to continue to reap the benefits of their athleticism and their sacrifices. That's why. Because you got to play the game. We know what it's hitting for. You use me, I use you too. So, no, you don't stop. Is it a situation where I say kids shouldn't go to Ole Miss? Nope. I won't say that either. If Ole Miss is the school for you, more power to you. Go there and be great. But I'll tell you this. There's a reason why the coach left. And yes, the recent success may have been at Ole Miss, but everybody knows where LSU has always been. And I think that right now, LSU will sustain way more success than it did in the past going forward than Ole Miss will within its recent history. So if you thought Ole Miss was good, watch what LSU is about to do. You can tell that the recruiting is different for Lane Kiffin now because he's already locked up more 5-stars in 4 months than he did in 6 full years than what he had at LSU, than what he had in Mississippi. He did that at LSU. So clearly, something was locking him up. DBB, thank you for being here, man. Clearly, something was locking that up. Not to mention, he also spoke about the investment into adult money at LSU. Oxford's got money, but it's different, right? My son got a job. He make his little coins, but he can't pay no rent. He ain't paying no car note. He can't pay no cell phone bills. That's adult money. And you've seen it in action within the first 4 weeks of him being on campus. That adult money flexed. Then it flexed again when they went snatch Will Wade out of North Carolina State. And I guarantee you that adult money gonna flex again to retool this baseball roster. And then, like my guy says, and they flexed when they fired Brian Kelly. LSU's football program has a valuation of $1.5 billion. You think they're not going to spend $54 million to protect that? You think they're not going to double back and invest another $100 million in a new coach to protect that? You think they're not going to get him a roster worth half his salary to protect that? Adult money. Adult money. This is exactly why LSU is just different. And look, as a whole, as a people, as a state, we still have a lot, as a nation, we still have a lot to get better at. We've got a lot of healing that we got to do. And honestly, I don't even think we've truly started the path to do that. There's several few things that bring us together. And nothing brings us together like sports does. So maybe if we can just focus on each other having a good time and realize that we have commonalities amongst each other here on the football field, basketball court, on the baseball diamond, on the golf course. And while we may not all belong to the levels of athleticism that other players are privy to, we all belong to watch and enjoy it. Maybe that could be the step in the right direction. Right now, Ole Miss is upset. So, let them. Unk says in the chat, D. Bill Jr. AP is at his best tonight. David says, what's up, Unk? Sorry, I'm just getting to these comments, fellas. David says, AP always at his best. Thank you, David. Sometimes I'm not. I just know how to fake it very well. Unk says, LSU Ole Miss is now the biggest rivalry in college football. I pray we smash them by 50. Yes. If it wasn't the biggest, is that I think this game on September 19th will be the most watched game all year. Plain and simple. I was going to go. I'm not going anymore. I got a pregame show and a postgame show to do now, and I'm more excited about that than anything else. And I can't wait to sit back, put my feet up, watch this game, break it down, and just enjoy the game for what it's going to be. Hopefully, the crowds do not get into it with each other. But I mean, we saw what happened at the baseball field. It's part of it. Unc says this is a great show. Thank you so much, Unc. I definitely appreciate it. Please, y'all, if y'all are in there, if y'all are in the chat, if y'all are still alive, please, please, please like the post. Like the post on Facebook, on Twitch, on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube. Please, 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 please like. We have to like the show, please. Unc says, D-Bill, great Saturday night show. Don't let the LSU haters get you down. We love LSU baseball and LSU in general, win or lose. David says, appreciate you, Unc. Hope you enjoyed my rant about the Yeski haters. Yeah, go check out David's rant. Definitely went off on the mouth breathers. And to all the people who think that Jay Johnson need to you know what? Stop giving those idiots on Twitter attention. Like, move on. Like, you got the best coaching staff at every sport on campus. Like, tell them to shut up. Babin says, how you doing? Unc says, been going through it, Junior, but Unc is okay. Appreciate you checking on me. Junior warms Unc's heart. Yes, of course. Babin says, of course, my friend. I love the rant, D. Bill. One of the most knowledgeable LSU baseball guys out there, along with Junior. Love how sports unites us and brings us together. Yes, that's what all this is about, man. This is all about finding common ground and definitely sharing that space with everybody and making sure that everybody feels, welcome. Like, it doesn't have to be beef all the time. Like, I can enjoy and respect your peace and privacy and understand that we are all in this thing together. Like, we don't have to beef with one another. We don't have to. But people let their differences and their lack of understanding and lack of empathy get in the way of things, and then here we are. Hatred is not something that you are born with. You are taught it. You're taught it. It is passed down generation to generation. That's why I tell y'all when I end every show, be the difference. Break the mold. Break the chain. Break it. Hold the doors open for somebody. Say good morning. Smile. That's how we start. And even if it's towards someone who's going to be rude and look past you, cool. If all of us keep doing it, guess who's going to look like the dummy? That person. Because then they got to face themselves. Like, why am I against people who don't mean no harm and they're just saying good morning to me? Yeah, they got to answer that question. So I'm sorry I took, a little bit longer than what I wanted to on this topic, but we had to discuss this. And I had to give you my perspective because I thought it was a very, very intriguing spot to be on. And most of the people I heard talk about this didn't look like me. So they touched on it a little bit as much as they could, and shout out to them for even trying and even taking it to the edge of the conversation. But no, I had to get this off my chest. So call this a tangent episode. It is what it is. Also, just real quick, to pivot, recruiting, right? That's what all this came from, recruiting. Kiffin says, "Hey coach, we really like you, but my grandparents aren't letting me move to Oxford, Mississippi." Well, one kid I hope won't be allowed to move to Oxford, Mississippi is Easton Royal, who is currently being pursued by Ole Miss, Florida, Texas, and of course LSU. All of this is warranted because Easton Royals, to me, the number one athlete in this recruiting class. He's an absolute stud. Kid just won a state championship in track, freak athlete, speed, set a personal record in a 200-meter dash, 10-1, 200, I believe, or 10-1, 100. It's ridiculous what he can do. And LSU has to do everything that they can to get him. You can't, like what Colin Sexton was to Texas, that's what Easton Royal needs to be to LSU. You cannot let him leave the state. And look, it meant something that he was at that track meet on LSU's campus wearing an LSU hoodie. And then he immediately had to go out and repost that he's committed to Texas. Behind the scenes, I think that he is leaning towards flipping, but the job is not done. You got to close. You got to get this kid on campus. You got to keep him on campus. You have to make sure that he stays home. Plain and simple. You got to. There's no other reason to let this kid leave. Like, he's got to be the most important recruit right now. And shout out to all the other guys who have committed already, because they're doing their damnedest to get him. They're doing their damnedest to get him. So we'll talk about Easton some more tomorrow, just to give some stats, highlights, breakdowns, why he's important, outside of just being a freak athlete. You know, while he's committed to Texas, you got to flip him back. Somebody get the billionaires on the phone and just say, hey, write yourself the amount. You're not leaving. Like, Babin says it right here. What Bryce Underwood was to Michigan. Bryce Underwood was never going to Michigan. He didn't even want to tour the facility. Somebody dropped the check. Like, say, bro, you can't leave. You got to give Easton Royal the exact same treatment. He can't leave. He's got to stay home. Plain and simple. He's got to stay home. So do whatever it is that you got to do to keep him here. Straight up. Well, Babin said, yes, Unc, everybody's doing incredible work from AP to Paula, David, and Zach. No, absolutely. Please make sure y'all are following all the guys. Everybody's literally growing and glowing right now. Everybody's putting in the work, so please make sure that you're tapped in with everybody. I don't know, Jay Dobson might be more important for the program. Yeah, but here's my thing with Dobson, Chef. Dobson's not in state. Dobson's in North Carolina. Easton Royal goes to my alma mater. Like, you can't let that kid. If Easton Royal wasn't in Louisiana, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care. If Easton Royal wasn't in New Orleans, I wouldn't care. But the fact that Easton Royal is in New Orleans, you got to keep that kid here. You got to keep him home. You want to build a national championship winning program, you got to put a wall up around Louisiana. You can't let Texas come in here and think that they can big dog you out of the elite recruits. It may not be on a year to year basis, but once every 2 3 years is a problem. You can't do that, and you can't lose a recruit like an Eastern Royal at a premier position. Like this isn't Albert Simeon, a 5-star interior offensive lineman. We're talking about a guy who's going to be playing on Sundays. You want him coming home like Jamar Chase, right? Like you want that. Then Chef says, then I expect you to finish the deal. Hey, look. I'm trying to get some FaceTime with Easton. All right. I'm gonna see if I can slide him some queso and chips from since I'm recovered from Cinco. We'll see if that'll put it over the top. I'll show him the pictures I got with Trey Morgan. Not saying I kept Trey Morgan home, but did have an influence there, maybe, but not really. But I can try. Babin says it right here. The best in the boot, stay in the boot. That's absolutely right, Babin. You gotta lock down the state. Get his parents on the show. Look, I'm working on that and Miguel Whitley. Look, I'll tell y'all this too. I'm gonna do my best to get some high school coaches on here coming up over the summer. Might even get a Bryce Brown appearance. We'll see. Depends on how Wednesday goes. This is a big week for us personally. My son's last spring game is this Wednesday. He gets to go back to where it all started for him. Kennedy is going to play Carr for their spring game this Wednesday at 6:00 at Carr. And then the very next day is his senior ring ceremony, which I am going to cry. I already know I'm going to cry. I didn't cry for anything. I didn't cry for him winning state. I didn't cry for him being born, to be honest with you. I'm going to cry for him getting his senior ring. I am going to cry behind that. Cannot wait to see it. Unk says, I would have loved to see Eastern Royal running sprints. Watching track sprints in person is electric. It is. Having been a part of the track team at Brother Martin, and being in some of those events was a phenomenal thing to see and experience. Like Babbitt said, lock down the state. So yeah, like you got to keep Eastern Royal here. You got to. Look, I think the fact that you're in on a guy like Joshua Dobbins, I think you need to get that. You got to close that deal. You got to make that happen, right? You have to make sure Joshua Dobbins happens, but Eastern Royal has to be priority number one. Eastern Royal has to be priority number one. Like, you cannot let up on Eastern Royal. And Miguel Whitley. I would love to see Eastern Royal and Miguel Whitley play together. Please. Y'all have not watched Miguel Whitley play football. You need to. He unfortunately plays for St. Aug. Ugh. Nah, shout out to St. Aug. Shout out to the Purple Knights. But kid is a baller. St. Aug probably has the best wide receiver core in 5A this year. I think Kennedy has the best wide receiver core overall. St. Aug has Raekwon Wright and Miguel Whitley, and they are both weapons. Now they got questions at quarterback, though, so that's going to be interesting to see. So we are going to let's see. Unk says, Junior, nothing gets me more turned up than elite prospects staying in state, especially iconic high school athletes like William Smith, Lamar Brown. the absolute best when a hometown hero puts his city on and doesn't go elsewhere. Yep, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Like we say, the best in the boot, stay in the boot. So look, shout out to my guys at the know. Thank you guys so much for having me on this network. Thank you so much for all the work that you guys do for us. Ethan, Chris, shout out to y'all. If y'all are not doing it, please go follow us at Be in the Know on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, all the socials, and on YouTube. Make sure that you are tapping in for the blog. Got a couple articles I'm getting ready to produce for them this week, as well as the content that's going to keep contenting. Please, y'all, I got some brand ambassadorships and some sponsorships that are being worked on in the background. So ain't paid yet, but it's getting there. You know, it's gonna have its perks. So looking forward to doing those and making those announcements. Thank y'all so much for everything that y'all have done tonight. Please make sure that you like the stream. Please like the stream. Please, please, please like the stream. Cannot thank y'all enough for being here tonight. However many of y'all are in the chat right now, please like the stream. Thank y'all. It's definitely been a fun show. And we got some more big things planned for the rest of the week. So y'all make sure y'all are subscribed and following. And we are going to we're gonna keep doing what we're doing. We're gonna keep rocking. So I love y'all so much. Thank y'all for being here. All the people that are watching on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Thank y'all all so much for all the support, all the love. Thank y'all for everything. David, thank you, man. Love you too, brother. Thank you for being here in the chat. Tell Paul I'm gonna fight him. I haven't seen him, heard from this week. I need to talk to him. I miss my guy. Unc, thank you for being here, man. That's going to be my favorite interview since Paulie J interviewed Jumbo on Thursday. That's awesome, man. Unc says can't wait for the Bryce Brown pull up. Look, I'm gonna work on that. I gotta see Bryce on Wednesday, and it's definitely gonna be a funny interaction when I see my guy. Bryce Brown is probably one of the most nicest individuals that you could ever meet. Like seriously, very down to earth guy. You talk about a man who legitimately loves his players and wants to see them grow to be phenomenal young men, not just football players, but actual phenomenal young men. That is one Bryce Brown. Absolutely love Bryce Brown and everything that he does for the young men that come into his life and on his teams. So I can't wait to see my guy and talk to him on Wednesday. It's definitely going to be a great time and a great game too. So thank y'all again, man. Thank y'all so much. Chef, my guy, I'm glad that you're able to catch this one. We will be back tomorrow night at 8:00 on the dot. We don't have a midweek game tomorrow. So, David, I don't know if y'all are doing a stream. Please make sure y'all smash the like button. If David and Zach are doing a stream tomorrow, I will be live after them. I just don't know what time that they're going live. But 8 p.m. tomorrow night, right here. Not changing scenes, not changing times. David just said we aren't going live. So they'll be live Wednesday, which will be perfect timing because I won't be live Wednesday until late. So while they're live, we'll be on the field battling out with the Car Cougars. So I'll have to catch that on my way back home. So once again, y'all, thank y'all so much. Once again, smash the like button, smash it, share it. Please share, repost, whatever you got to do. Get it out there. Let's grow this pod. We broke over 210 subscribers. We broke over 210 subscribers on YouTube this past week. So thank y'all. That's all because of y'all. It's free to like the show. It's free. It costs you nothing. Just hit the button. Press the button. You press the button. Carcast says they need a rest. Thank God, no time till Thursday. no, no game till Thursday. They do. They do need a break. I didn't even get the baseball, but I was hoping for a win. They played offensively good, just ran out of arms. You lose your Friday and Saturday guy, and you bump everybody up a chair. It's like, what do you want him to do? What do you need? What do you need? What do you want him to do? Like anybody, I'll say this about baseball before I close out. Who the hell would you want them to play? Huh? Who's coming out of the locker room to give you 6 innings? This is essentially the football team playing without Garrett Nussmeier. That's what you're watching. If you get a win, congratulations. You earned it. If you don't, congratulations. You earned it. It just is what it is at this point. It's not on the coaching. It's not on the players. They're out there. They're busting their ass. The freshmen are literally growing up every game. The experience that they're getting has a lot of value. Then you don't have the arms. You gave up 15 walks, 15 free passes, 13 walks, 2 hit batters in one game. Who's coming throw the ball over the plate? Who? I'll wait. So to all the people who are complaining about the coaching, what coaching are you upset with? You should be upset if Jay Johnson would have stuck with the transfers that he brought in and overpaid and they weren't producing. That's when you be upset at coaching. Refusing to see the error and sticking with and doubling down on it. Clearly, Jay Johnson knows what the issue was and adjusted. And he adjusted quickly too. It just so happened that the adjustments took place the same time injuries started happening. You lost Cooper Moore when you started seeing injuries. There is a thing called timing in sports. And sometimes it's either on your side or it's not. Unfortunately, it was not on LSU's side this season. Like, injuries happen, man. It's a part of it. It's like the people who are trying to say Sam Levitt is garbage. He's hurt. And he beat Texas Tech with 1 foot. What? Like, I'm not going to go on another rant about this. I'll save it for tomorrow. But Sam Levitt is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. He will have a phenomenal season at LSU. If you think Sam Levitt is bad, go watch Sam Levitt highlights. He's a master at creating something out of nothing, throwing off platform. He has a big arm. He can make all the throws, and he's smart with the ball. Jay Johnson is a good coach. He knows the issues that his team has. He made the adjustments when he needed to make them, and they worked. Just don't have pitching right now. You got hurt. You got banged up. Your best hitter legitimately went down, and your offense has gotten better. Coincidence? I think not. I think that's good coaching. That's turning the roster over properly. That's making sure that the rotation is sitting where it needs to be. And investing in the players who are actually producing. Remember at the beginning of the season, Ruckert was not good at the plate. Ruckert has become solid at the end of the season. You needed guys like Tanner Reeves at the end of the year, and he's starting to come around. So to all the people who are saying that the coaching is bad, suck it, nerds. Y'all are stupid. I was trying to be nice tonight, but I'm sorry. Unc says, amen, Carla Cat. Good to see you pull up, my brother. AP is a special dude. Thank you. Thank you, Unc. I appreciate the kind words. Diamond, man, I appreciate you being here. Thank you for tapping in right quick. What's going on, man? David says they need a break until 2027, Carl. Talking about the LSU baseball team. Yes. Yes, they do. 2027 is our year. We will shake back. We'll be there. Word, D-Bill, but don't let the Tigers get hot in Hoover. Unc, I'm going to tell you right now, whatever happens, happens. We got to get through Florida. Let's just start there. We got to get through Florida. Let's get through Florida. Unc never says die. No, you shouldn't. You should not. 31 free passes between walks and hit by pitches in 3 games. It's crazy. And Unc just said that that's insane. David says we have been pretty blessed with lack of injury since Jay has been here. It finally bit us. It happens. Yes, you just had that season. You just had that season. That's all it is. We're just
You know what? You're spoiled. You're spoiled.
Yep. That's it. We're just spoiled. Breaking news. Babin says it right here. Big bounce back coming in 2027. Absolutely, guys. Look, we have gone for almost an hour and 30 minutes. I'm definitely over my time. Thank y'all for you all being here yet again. I cannot appreciate you guys enough for all of the support. Over 200 subscribers on YouTube. Road to 500 is starting. Let's try to get these numbers up. It is May 11th. Let's try to get to 500. I want to be at 500 by September 19th. That's my goal. That's my goal. So I want to tell you all, Unc, Babin, Carl, Chef, Diamond, everybody who is here streaming in the chat, Piersley, all the people that I'm missing, thank y'all so much. I'm so sorry if I'm missing names. I love y'all. Good night to all of y'all. David, tell my girl Maxine, I love her and I owe her some more ice cream. She's got it. Babin, I love you, brother. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank y'all so much. Look, we talked a lot about the heaviness of the comments that Lane Kiffin made and what he brought up, right? You want to see a difference, then let's go be the difference. Let's go be the difference. Let's go be the difference. Smile. Let's see. Mark on Facebook. Who Pelicans going to hire? Fan favorite is Rajon Rondo to tutor Fears at point guard or retread. Darvin Ham, no. No Darvin Ham. No on Darvin Ham. Nope. Not even about that. We'll save. Mark, join us tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We'll talk about that then. Junior, I am looking for Schmidt and Kaysen to be the best 1-2 duo in the country, and all of our freshmen to shine next year, and Beatty to make a run at Golden Spikes. I pray Monster and Sharon return. Good night, all y'all. Babin, I went back and listened to the beginning of the show. Very good. Go on and listen to all y'all stuff now. For anything I missed, thank y'all so much once again. Stream was amazing, popping. Love the support. Love all the excitement. Be the difference that you want to see in the world. Hold the door open for somebody. Tell somebody good morning. Tell somebody happy afternoon, happy Monday, happy Tuesday. Smile. It's free. Costs you nothing. Just like hitting the like and subscribe. It's free. Thank y'all so much for all the support. Love y'all. Good night, Piersley. Y'all get y'all rest. Don't work too hard wherever y'all may be. Stay safe in these people's streets out here. I love y'all. Y'all be good.